TF2L 6's Autumn 2024 Prem Week 1. There's NOOBPANZER versus Garda Panteri. I'm joined by Dave as a heavy fight is going on here as some description. I saw some people dying to taunts, but they're getting prepped for it. Here on Snakewater, Dave, obviously coming in, we got Garda Panteri, they've been around a while, up versus NOOBPANZER. What kind of things do you think we're expecting?
It's very difficult to put any expectations. This is the first week of the season, and Garda are one of these teams that is just super, super unpredictable. They tend to finish around mid-table most seasons, at least recently. They're kind of a team that, if you have playoff aspirations, you probably want to beat. They can gatekeep you a little bit. NOOBPANZER, I'd say maybe we're expecting them to be challenging for those playoff spots. I don't know if they're serious contenders for the title yet, but certainly their roster looks pretty tasty. So I'd probably say, if you're going to be betting, putting your metal on one of these teams, I'd probably lean towards NOOBPANZER, but it is early on in the season, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how NOOBPANZER really shape up. As you said, decent number of really interesting players, in particular ones that stick out to me being VoxTech. I've been watching the VODs recently, so excited to see what they're able to do alongside the rest of this team, with GG there on as the team leader over on the demo. So going to be excited to see what they're going to be able to do here on Snake. Obviously a map where there's a decent amount of chokes, you can really shut people down. So
yeah, they're a very, very strong roster. I think Piggles has been one of the best medics for the last few seasons in Prem. I think GG probably hasn't, has always looked good during the regular season, probably hasn't had a real kind of starring performance where he's kind of propelled his team in a playoff scenario. So that's probably something that he'll be looking for. But yeah, certainly Voxy has been there or thereabouts. I don't think he's quite won Prem yet, if I remember, but he's certainly finished second a few times. So
yeah,
you know, a lot of established players, a lot of experience on this side, for sure.
Yeah, and certainly no lack of it on the Garda side, as you kind of highlighted before. Got some players who've been kicking it around on this very roster for quite some time in the form of Bood, for example. Bood Bud, I actually don't know how you say that one, so apologies if I'm getting it wrong. And Shappy as well, who's been around on that team for quite some time too. So I mean, this team Garda Panteri, as you said, been around a long time. Difficult to know what to expect. Could be the season where they really shape up, but still expecting them to be more kind of towards that mid-level team. And I think that's really good for this matchup, because that really means we've got a bit more of a measuring stick for NOOBPANZER to really kind of you know straighten up against.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. We are gonna have a lot more information in terms of where these teams stack up after these two maps for sure. Seems we're starting off on Snakewater. Which is an interesting map to start with, probably one of the slower maps. We are, you know, sticking with it. Seems to be, you know, not a map that people are relishing at the top level of Prem these days, but you know, at the end of the day, they've had to pick bans, and this is the map that's got through. So obviously, some teams want to play it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it can be a fun map at times, but obviously still very slow and methodical, and I think some teams are really down for that. And I think I'm not surprised to see it in combination with Gullywash to make it through all these bans, right? When you've got Snakewater and Gullywash side by side, it really gives you an idea of what these teams want to be doing and are happy kind of playing that style. So not super shocked by that one.
No, absolutely. I think probably if we're looking at the Soldier matchup, especially on this map, because I mean, I wouldn't say it's a particularly amazing map for soldiers, but it is a map where you're really relying on your soldiers to open things up, because it can be a bit stalematey. It can be demos just locking stuff down. Scouts have limited potential, I think, to really make plays. So it is up to the kind of playmaking factor coming from the soldiers, and I think Puck is probably the guy that you're going to be looking for. He's just someone who's phenomenal in terms of DM and just always going to hit rockets, so you can't afford him any space whatsoever. Ryan as well has just grown and improved over the last few seasons, so you know, he's right now being played at the top of Prem these last couple of seasons, so he's someone to look out for as well. On the Garda side, they've got Bud and Yorn, I believe, on the soldiers. And Bud, you know, possibly not seen as the strongest skill-wise in terms of a soldier, but someone who tends to have very, very good synergy with his soldier partners, relies on the team play and bringing impact via just coordination with his soldier partners. So that's, if Garda are going to kind of pull some out from this game, it's going to be probably due to soldier coordination.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, I think, the story for both of these maps, especially on those mids where the soldiers can just be so pivotal and how they get that aggression going. Also, keep an eye on the scouts and their positionings to really deny those bombs, because otherwise things are going to end up very pear-shaped very quickly. But yeah, I'm really interested to see specifically how they tackle those threats of last. More than anything, because obviously cracking that is always a pain in the backside. We do see a little bit of a base jumper with the fresh Unbound, but would be a little bit surprised to see that in actual game, at least from my perspective. Maybe I'm ill-informed, but yeah, I mean, I'd be shocked to see that one.
Would be an interesting one. It's certainly if from what I saw of the vote, it seemed the Premiership players really didn't want to have it unbanned, but the plebs in the lower divisions unfortunately overruled them. So we are potentially seeing base jumpers here, but as you say, maybe not expecting to see too much impact from it.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not super knowledgeable about what it is that makes it so strong, but I'm definitely interested in potentially seeing that in action here, maybe making more of a case for those of you at home when the next vote comes up on the next season. Would certainly be interesting to see, but we're getting ready to go into game here. We'll be in just a second. Early doors, what's your estimation of how this one is going to go, Snake, on as the first map?
I'm going to lead to NOOBPANZER. I think it's probably going to be pretty tight. I'd probably go maybe 3-1.
Ooh, fair. I mean, Garda Panteri, the old guard, definitely can put up a good fight, so interested to see whether they're going to be able to take it. I think they might be able to pick this one up 2-0. I think they're a solid team, and we did see them doing some pretty decent work on the warm-up, so interested to see how that one's going to go. GG, they are already pretty far forward here, trying to land some of that damage down, but no success just yet. Decent amount of damage onto Juxta, and actually managing to tag Theos just a little bit here, but they're not going to turn into anything just yet. Keep an eye on these soldiers. Ryan going behind in a good position here to potentially get some damage, but good check coming in from the opposing soldier. Will get taken down. Bud is down, and now Theos is already moving forward. That Uber is going to be up in a second. They have to use instantly. Good play there coming out from Puck and the gang to try and deny that one away, and Pigment's just waiting in the wings, ready to try and push them out and use it if necessary, but they don't have to.
Yeah, very, very cautious mid-fight for both sides. I think GG certainly got more presence on the point, got more damage across the point as well, and kind of their impact allowed that force to come in. Rare you see kind of almost a sack wave come in towards the tail end of a mid-fight like that.
Yeah, could be sniper for Yalen. I think it's a good shout, as they will be, sorry, Yalen, as Garda Panteri kind of realizing with the Uber disad, they really can't hold second here. They easily get rolled through. They want to hold that last. As we said before, it is notoriously difficult to push, especially with the sniper, some of these off classes, the engineer, and everything else that's coming on through here. But here is the Uber used automatically. They cut off the right-hand side. They take down the turret. Can they take any more control here and get a little bit of extra damage? GG trying to make sure that people can't push out. They take a couple of frags off as Puck dives in deep, trying to find that damage and forces the heavy through the door. Is very much cut off, and they capture it. NOOBPANZER kicking things off, and my estimation is already way off chart.
Yeah, it's tough for Garda. They kind of telegraphed their force attempts on second a little bit too much, and then on last they're kind of just caught back in the corner, didn't really get back out towards the point. They, you know, absorbed the aggression, they absorbed the Uber relatively well, but then they really needed to flood the point back in, and they're just a little bit too slow on that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they're able to adapt at all to deal with this one. Panteri this time should be a little bit faster to mid here. We'll be able to try and get some damage and deny that push on in, but doesn't manage to do it. In fact, takes a little bit of damage for their trouble. If they're not careful, could eat some soldier rockets. But the soldier's playing more passive for now, not choosing to really commit to anything, with Garda and Noob choosing to chill.
Yeah, again, not too much happening on this mid-fight whatsoever. Ryan's thinking about going in through the kitchen area. Just makes now a big bomb coming in from Bud. Gonna use the parachute, but is just going to have to get out of there. It takes a ton of damage, but Hughie and Puck have both actually gone down. It's going to allow Shaki some space, but he does just kind of get meat shot down in mid-range. Wasn't supported by the rest of his team there.
Yeah, actually done to kind of not lose too much there, but Voxtec does get pushed back. NOOBPANZER will have to retreat for now, but obviously keep that med alive. And this time, that push from Kitchen actually going the way of Yorn, managing to kind of push on out, get the frag, set up the rest of their team to kind of just get those kills. And they didn't even have to get really towards the medic. Once they got both those soldiers, then it was kind of NOOBPANZER just had to move back. Bud gets forced out back here a little bit more as Yorn just fades away from that one. Doesn't want to commit too hard. They know they have a player, they play a disad, so they don't want to lose too much. As Huggy and the rest of the gang are just kind of chilling out before pushing through here. Again, it's difficult to move between the different sections of this map towards that mid.
Yeah, they moved very smoothly back there, Garda. They knew they'd lost a player, but got caught out very quickly, and immediately they were just back in position, back on mid, having the stickies up, having their demo in position. Yorn made sure he didn't get caught as well. He was getting chased by a scout, so just a very smart play, not taking too many risks. And yeah, set up on mid again. It's probably going to be them setting the base, even though they're. I mean, I guess they're 1-0 down as well, so they're going to want to make something happen. But having that kind of mid launch pad is very, very nice for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's still going to be difficult for them to really commit into this. There isn't a med Uber advantage in any way, no player advantages as well anymore. They're still looking for a chance. Yorn gets in here, looking for a chance, gets some damage, does get the force. That's exactly what they were looking for. Now they have to beat a hasty retreat. Garda Panteri make sure they don't lose too much, and that is really solid for them. Now they just wait a couple of seconds. They're going to get the players back up, make sure everyone's health is good, and then that's the time to go.
Yeah, it looks a little bit awkward with Pickles there. I mean, the soldier didn't land too close to him, but you know, just clean rockets is obviously kind of worried about dropping in that scenario. It did take one rocket and quite a significant amount of damage from it, so just had to back up, put players between him, but wasn't enough. Didn't want to risk just dropping there, and now seconds have been taken basically for free, and Garda still have a little bit of time here to work with.
Nice from Ryan there, trying to catch something, but a good sticky from Shabib completely cuts them out of the left-hand side, and with the sentry gone, now this is exactly where Garda Panteri want to be. Uber used, they're getting aggressive, but there is a response. Uber, as Voxtec over on the heavy does as well, trying to prune those players, keep them back, and make sure they don't lose too much. It's trade, 1-for-1, but well, it's also Uber for Uber. Look how there is a little bit of a kind of tense situation here. There's a couple of players still living. They're trying to go for a dry push. But ultimately, without that Uber, it's very difficult to push out on this one.
Yeah, they postured back up to just go back in. I think they were trying to make a play onto Piggles, but you know, NOOBPANZER weren't falling for those. They didn't want to overchase, they didn't want to overcommit. They had a heavy there to support their medics, so it's going to be very, very difficult to land anything down onto Piggles this time when there's a anti-aircraft gun shooting you out the air.
Yeah. I mean, the other problem with that now is Voxtec back over on that engineer. Going to be able to get up that sentry pretty darn quick. And this is going to make this even more difficult, because actually forcing the med is going to be even more of an exercise in futility. Going to see Yalin swap over to that sniper, and this is a good way to try and crack things open. But let's see if Garda Panteri can work the slow and sensible position. However, they are checked for. Huggy knows it's coming. Really heads up from here from NOOBPANZER, making the right decision, making the right call, and being well aware of what's going on.
Yeah, they had a decent window there before this sentry has gone up from this engineer. That's a little bit more viable in terms of getting space, particularly for your soldiers, but looks like they're going to be trying to work this sniper. It's going to be very, very difficult. This is a very, very well kind of experienced, well thought out hold, and kind of all the teams know exactly how it goes down, and there's very limited kind of windows for the sniper to work from. Trying to move him up through this drop down area to find some kind of angle, but I don't think Pickles is going to be very exposed.
No, it's going to be very difficult to deal with them. I think NOOBPANZER most likely taking some pretty sensible positions to deal with that one. Yalin tries to get something, but actually eats a rocket for their troubles. But I don't know. I mean, there still isn't enough, really, for NOOBPANZER to push out, and we're kind of in the snake water zone, where you're kind of stuck in last, and finding a major advantage to push out, or to actually lose the point, on either side is very difficult, and why we're looking at these teams to be kind of playing the slower style as they try to get advantages here.
Yeah, I think a team is never really going to be pushing it off just winning that kind of SVS. It's going to be always going to be a bit difficult. I mean, you have that fallback of the sentry gun, but that is obviously one less player to push out with as well. So
yeah,
I would just happy to settle down in 2 minutes before we have a reset here.
Yeah, speaking of trying to set up for an opportunity, Bud has gone over onto the man treads to try and make this sack way more effective, and I love this call from them, making sure they have an advantage, giving the buffs over here. As you can see, checking, making sure there's no sort of shenanigans happening under. There's a player waiting there, but likely going to get very little here. It's a little bit spam going through as Bud jumps up, wants to try and find something. Burst rocket goes in. Can they find anything more? No, unfortunately not. Don't even get the Force Piggles going there in the end, and will manage to keep themselves alive. NOOBPANZER still just chilling out, and as you said, waiting for the reset.
Yeah, and just the use of the teleporter as well. As soon as the sack came in, Medic just stood on the teleporter, went back to spawn.
That's
nice
really
and
funny.
safe. Be interested to see if you could kind of, if once you know that's a thing, whether maybe you could have one of your soldiers bomb the spawn at the same time as the player is going in towards the, towards the sentry gun area. But you'd have that would be a very, very heads-up play, and certainly they didn't have that information until now.
Oh wow, Huggy making a real big call out on that spy. I was going to mention that it was a good choice from Garda Panteri here, but NOOBPANZER seemed to be one step ahead, always checking for those off passes, always making sure that they can deal with whatever's coming next. Interested to see if Garda Panteri are going to stick with that spy. Normally we see people swap off, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's 30 seconds, so it's going to come down to probably a trade and some kind of crazy DMF spy. Probably not the exact class you'd want in that scenario, so I'd expect him to come. He's actually, back up on... We've got regular classes back up, but it's going to go down immediately soon. That's the trap for GG.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be pretty difficult for Garda Panteri to really push on in here. 5 seconds on the clock. They're going to use Uber. It's nowhere even near. They're just chilling. They're going to let it reset. And NOOBPANZER hold out really strong here. Impressive performance. And, well, Garda Panteri are back to the drawing board and how they're going to win this one. They can get another advantage in mid. That's really going to be where they've got to work from, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's been slow stuff really other than that one round we've seen. We've seen very slow mids and a long time. They did their best, their Garda, to open something up, but let's hope we get a little bit more action in this next mid fight.
Again, similar positions for the start of this one. GG, they are playing quite tight to this box, making sure that they're not taking too much spam from anyone else and getting decent buff, obviously, as well as Huggy providing that support up there. That's good damage onto the... not quite able to kill the soldier as Sticky does go through. Ryan as well, not in a great position to really capitalize on anything. A lot of damage going back and forth. Juxter is the first to fall. What does this mean? How can they push this advantage? Right now, they're just playing slightly more defensive positions. Yorn still in an aggressive one. Ryan looking to potentially back up their teammate. Some good damage coming in from Puck. And does manage to kill Yorn off. This is exactly the opportunity NOOBPANZER needed. And I think Garda Panteri very much looking at this and going, well, let's back out.
Yeah, that time Bud wanted to do something. He wanted to get up on the high ground as a soldier, but he just kind of got bullied as soon as he went up there. Just peppered down. Lots of space taken. And again, they're looking to move in towards the second point, and they've got the force out of Theos here. So it's going to be a full Uber advantage for Biggles. They've kited it back, and now they're looking to rebound, elasticated back into the second point.
Yeah, I mean, this is almost akin to what we saw in the first, the first round, where they got an advantage on mid, managed to force out as well the med, and then from there, it's really difficult. A good couple of kills coming through here from Garda Panteri means that it could be a slightly slower push, which means they maybe have a little bit more time to get everything sorted out, maybe try and build as quickly as possible. With only 60%, they're not going to quite get it. GG locks up the left, box stack heads up on high to try and make sure there's no more stickies providing any nuisance. As Yon gets a good rocket in, but it doesn't really mean enough, and, well, they will have to retreat. But Ryan, GG. They just got on it. NOOBPANZER playing really well around the point here.
Yeah, very, very smart. They knew they could get a couple of players on the point, especially that one scout, and then just a big bob in towards just pinning everyone back. Everyone had their heads turned looking up at that soldier in the sky, and they didn't have enough players looking at the point. Distraction worked.
Yeah, I mean, they just had to be so careful, right, because of the damage that was coming through. GG getting that spam over, Voxtech and Huggy just managing to land some decent chip shots to really deny anyone away. And then as soon as you see that soldier, you're like, oh no, that's how we die, that's how we lose the round. But unfortunately, they didn't see the very obvious and ever-present threat of a scout sitting on the point and, well, winning the game.
Double bomb this time. The soldiers, one is on the parachute, one small. Yorm goes in, lands some rockets near Pickles, in his vicinity at least. Doesn't find the damage he would have wanted. They might be able to find Ryan though. He goes down into a sliver of health. He's just going to get arrowed up, and looks like Garda here are slowly crumbling. Actually, Ryan finding a shot onto Juxta is probably going to mean the mid is over, I imagine.
Oh, nice dart coming in there to keep them alive and keep things healthy. But as you say, yeah, off the back of that, they kill Bud, they push them out of the mid, and Theos not forced this time, which means Garda Panteri have a much better position in this spot. Ryan gets good damage, but does go down, and no one's really able to capitalize upon it. Theos, importantly, not forced out here. So Garda Panteri, they still have the position that they want to hold. It's going to be on second. It's going to be hard to push him out.
It was slightly awkward there for a minute of Theos, because he was, due to avoiding the incoming bomb, he had to kind of surf away from the rest of his team. He was a little bit exposed for just a second, but there was no follow-up. It was just a solo bomb, and thankfully he didn't have to pop that Uber, so they're going to be settling down with even Ubers on the second point.
There they are. I mean, NOOBPANZER getting ready to look for an opportunity and set up for one of those bombs, but Ryan goes for it again, gets some good damage, but doesn't kill anybody. Unfortunately, no success just yet, but NOOBPANZER not willing to commit both those soldiers, making sure that they don't lose any space. They don't want to risk anything, and I love this from them, in particular when they're 2 rounds up, right? They don't have any pressure to make anything happen. Garda Panteri certainly do here. You can see already looking for a chance to push into Saw, get an advantage, and maybe try and push out, but we both know there's kind of a gravitational well, it feels like, around this second, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's difficult to get too many openings at the moment. It's just double soldier spam in this Saw area that fans are trying to break through. They're just trying to deal with. Seems Bud has been opted for this parachute quite a bit during this game. I don't think it's been particularly impactful on the mid fights, but I think if he does get above one of these kind of entrances, one of these choke points as the team is walking through, there is potential for a lot of damage utilising that extra hang time.
I kind of like that one. That was kind of sweet from Bud there to shoot within the window a little bit more than they would otherwise. But no, as you say, I mean, it's great for a couple of reasons. In particular, obviously, you can fade really effectively and still even pose that threat while being really high in the sky. Very difficult to touch you and interact with you there beyond a couple of scout shots, which will maybe, chip you for a little bit. As long as you've got buff, you're not feeling too bad there. Things can feel a little bit better as you kind of provide that threat for so long. Voxtech, however, not aware of the threat that was lurking around that corner.
No, you can see everyone's just absolutely jumping into action, looking to get some kind of counter second now. They've got the pick, and actually Yorn is going to get in behind. It's going to launch GG up in the air, but probably just too many players around. Space has been made though for the rest of his team. They've been able to get in through Saw, but they're aware that that spawner is coming in. They don't want to take a 5v6 fight and just back up once more.
Yeah, I mean, again, you lose here. If you use that Uber and you don't win the fight for Garda Panteri, you're literally just looking at a round where you can just instantly lose. But in a great position here, showing us just how effective that can be. But the Uber is used, unfortunately. Garda Panteri not quite able to deny Ryan from having the success that they've had on bombing into this second prior, and it's just an easy force coming through, and NOOBPANZER from that are going to likely take the second, likely kind of look for a chance to push on into last, but I think importantly Garda Panteri were trying to provide a little bit of threat there to try and either buy themselves a little bit of time, but also kind of look for a chance if NOOBPANZER slipped up to hit that force, but no dice.
Yeah, I didn't take too many risks. That was almost a carbon copy of the force, but here we go. It's going to be Uber in through the right hand side onto GG down to spawn the Sniper is dealt with for now. Chappie is trying to go out for the spawn door, but he gets caught out, runs into a full gang of NOOBPANZER players, and now no demo man, no stickers on the point. Lots of new players for it, but I think it's going to be Yuji. It's going to be able to stand on the point. There's going to be a melee fight, actually. Theos, the only player alive, does get the Uber out, but they're just going to be able to wait it out here. NOOBPANZER sticking him off. One more spawner, Chappie coming back into the fight. Yuji's just going to shut him down, and that's going to be a third round for NOOBPANZER.
Yeah, really nicely done. Again, I'm loving these last pushes from them. They head over to one side, crack it open, destroy the sentry, make sure that's not a problem, then instantly rotate over to the other side. You see GG, they're just jumping straight over, stickying the other spawn as you see like 4 people trying to come out. Garda Panteri looking for a chance, a breath of air as they come up from that one. But it's just not there, unfortunately. It's poisoned with GG sticky bombs. And they're cut away, they're unable to really push in, and from there, NOOBPANZER just kind of lock everything down. They have all the time in the world to get those points, and well, looks like they're going to use all of that time as much as they can to try and go for an opportunity here. Juxta does go all the way around, but GG got a lot of damage through here. Juxta still trying to fight, but the rest of their team has fallen away. Theos definitely has to make it out of here. Yellen does get them out, but at a cost of a lot of space, and obviously the mid as well.
Yeah, they did manage to take out Pickles there, Bud with just a very direct bomb straight on, no parachute nonsense this time. Just finding one rocket, launching Pickles, who did surf well away from Bud, but it was actually, I think Yalin was able to just clean him up with some long-range scatter shots. And with the medic down, they've at least claimed the mid here. NOOBPANZER, they have got that for their troubles, but now going to be having to deal with a big Uber advantage on Garda's side.
Yeah, going to be Ryan trying to get that in, but it was a nice force onto Theos. They're not going to be able to, well, get too much of a thing here, but you're going to see about 60% ad coming through from Pickles here. And again, NOOBPANZER are very happy to just give up this mid. They've even got a player back capping right now. That is horrendous for them. Huggy going to be able to get some good damage. Will not quite be able to kill the soldier. Does get the pack and actually gets clipped by a scattergun shot there, but Puck with a beautiful set of rockets there, managing to force them back. Boxtech has got that healing and will eventually be able to take down Yalin. They actually don't commit towards that. I thought the damage from Puck would be enough to force them back, but Garda Panteri with a good frag coming through from Shabib do mean that they are going to be able to hold out for now.
Yeah, GG did launch in, but Chappie hit some very nice shots into them, cleaning them up. Now Bud is caught in a slightly awkward position, waiting for an arrow, waiting for a reload. He is just going to be waiting for Puck's rocket at the end of the day. He is taken out, and NOOBPANZER just about been able to control the second point, get the cap through. Theos has bought enough time here to get Uber up himself, though, and getting a level 1 setup back towards the spawn door.
Yeah, nicely. And Ryan has been a real star of NOOBPANZER, I feel, for this game. Has been absolutely brilliant over on the soldier, providing a lot for them. As I say that, Caster's Curse is instigated by Ritual and he does die, but NOOBPANZER has still been relying heavily on their performance to succeed on Snakewater, and I think this also bodes very well for Gullywatch, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Ryan. I mean, whenever there's been an opportunity, he's been going on the dot. It's been the timing that's been the really, really important thing. At this kind of level, teams, they move so quickly, they sharpen up so quickly, they get their stickies in position, they get their setups, they get their scouts in position like very, very quickly. So you only have very, very small moments where teams are a little bit discombobulated. There are openings available, and every time Ryan seems to have found that perfect opportunity and made the most of it.
Oh, takes down Juxta. That is brutal to see. And with the Sniper War 1, they're down a player. They still have that engineer for sure. And there's only 5 seconds to really, truly capitalize on it. Huggy given a lot more space off that one. Does get a headshot, but no capitalization. Not really going to be able to get a lot off of that one. But it will take down that Sky. Juxta respawns, dies instantly, and NOOBPANZER, they are getting ready for this one. The Uber is there. They are in position to try and make something happen. Huggy, less relevant, obviously, over on this. And Theos even gets forced out here, not able to find a single thing as Bud falls yet again. The sentry is gone. GG is picking them apart as they're going to cap away on that one, and NOOBPANZER move to 4-0. Garda Panteri not able to really have their day so far.
Absolute disaster there for Garda, just losing Juxta and getting a second player down, and I mean, Theos ended up getting forced to long-range spam on Snakewater last. That is not something you see very often at this kind of level. It's very difficult. I mean, there wasn't an easy spot for him to avoid that. Just the long-range spam was impressive coming in from these, phenomenally talented soldiers. Something that we don't necessarily see as a massive skill expression. It can really pay dividends at this level.
Bud gets some damage there, but actually gets caught by the pipe. They will at least trade it back. Huggy goes down. Does mean these soldiers, well, the remaining soldiers should have a little bit more space to work with. Ryan, however, sees their opportunity, and that's a lot of damage onto the demo. And you will see Yalin and Juxta with that opening, when the demo is not spamming, completely get taken apart. And Ryan even manages to claim it should be for themselves. You see the med there. Ryan's looking for it, but with 11 health, it's no dice at least on that one.
Yeah, he's done his main job now. Actually, it's going to be going in onto Theos here. Puck. It doesn't find the final rocket though. Theos is able to just about juke away.
Yeah, nicely tried by Puck to make that happen, and honestly, even better played by Theos to not die there. I thought, wow, Theos is dead to rights here, but plays it solidly, and NOOBPANZER not able to roll that one quite all the way. There will be uber even position for both teams. And no off-classes just yet from NOOBPANZER, so they're going to have to back off. The Uber is actually used and will get the force, and will keep them very far away as well. Ryan, however, is inside that one and will be able to get some good damage. They're losing a couple of players, but they did trade back with Yorn falling down. Bud in a decent position could look to make an advantage of this. Shabib gets a massive sticky there, but can't convert it into anything. Bud has to jump back to their team, but with Ryan down, that does mean they're a lot safer, can move up their med. Bud gets the rocket through, takes down Huggy. That's exactly the opportunity that they're looking for. Shabib actually playing a little bit more passive here, knows that their health is not the best. These Piggles not really in a position to really help. Puck wants to look for a chance. Is now back from the grave. Will shut down Juxta with a little bit of help here. They're going to push up forward. You see that there's a soldier going behind. They're aware of that. She even spamming as Yorn is denied away from that entirely. Really well played here by NOOBPANZER in spite of what was a pretty bad situation. Shabib on 5 HP. You can see that Huggy is even dealing with the player who is behind. They're just going to go straight for the cap. You can see that the heavy's going on in. But here's the Uber. Sorry, buddy. NOOBPANZER 5-0. And Snakewater seems to be very solid for that.
Yeah, just solid performance all round. You know, that even that last push out from Garda, I think that's just a case of, probably something Garda wouldn't be doing in a 0-1, 1-0, 0-0 kind of scenario. Just at the end of the day, you 0-4 down, there's 5 minutes left. You may as well push out, you may as well give it a go. And it didn't quite pay off for them, but NOOBPANZER, they just seem to be a step ahead. They seem to have their ideas down. They didn't take too many L's overall in too many fights, and when they did, they bounced straight back up and got themselves in the right spots. And you can see that even player down, just not ideal trade there on that second point, but GG just did a good job, controlled it, played very close to Voxy, and eventually they just came out on top. And every time there were those extended fights, you just felt NOOBPANZER had an extra level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was really well played, and I mean, what more can I really say about that, other than that, the fact that they had these explosive classes really locking things down. I mean, that's the crux of Snakewater, right? And they just played it well, more than anything. We saw that there were opportunities for Garda Panteri to find some success, but it didn't quite land as they wanted to. Unfortunately, they just weren't able to really get through Huggy and Voxtech in a lot of these scenarios, so the defense going very well. And the fact that GG and Piggles both only died once, I think is a very telling story of how good the defense was and how good GG in particular was locking down a lot of those angles with some really nice frags actually managing to top the scoreboard.
I mean, that stat line itself just kind of shows, not crazy damage by any means by GG, but 15 kills, 5 assists, 1 death. That is someone who was completely controlling the game. Mm-hmm. We showed out Ryan for having kind of the big impact in terms of making the plays. That was something we talked about in the pre-game, that at least one of your soldiers is going to have to occasionally get that force, occasionally make that flank. And Ryan was certainly that for NOOBPANZER. Puck just playing a little bit quieter, not quite having his best map overall, but GG kind of shone. Piggles never really looked troubled. Voxy put in a solid performance as well, and that combo especially was just basically unmovable all game.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to really deal with them, especially with them a kind of impressive play we saw actually from both medics. Piggles under a lot less stress, I'm going to be honest, than Theos, but nonetheless playing very well. Very patient as well with the Uber, not really having to worry too much. Did have to flash quite a few people in a lot of the ways they were playing, but that's mainly because they were using them so effectively, and the kind of the way I highlighted right in game with GG, and I really love that usage coming out from them.
Yeah, I think also the reason this was a 5-0 wasn't because there was a massive gulf between the teams, but it was just a small difference, and especially on those last pushes, I think that was definitely where we saw the bigger difference between the two sides. Whenever there was an Uber advantage push, I think NOOBPANZER converted every single one, and it wasn't like just cleanly that immediately capping. It was they're just playing smart. They bided their time. They, as you said, they were playing on one side, focusing down anyone they could frag on one side, and then slowly just moving over in a kind of unstoppable wave, and eventually it came through for them.
Yeah, I mean, honestly impressive on the whole. Definitely exciting to see. But coming into Gully, I mean, we were talking about some of the transferable skills coming over from Snakewater, obviously. Do you feel like that's going to be a similar story?
I think it could be a little bit faster paced for sure. I think there's more opportunity, particularly for the soldiers on mid fights. I mean, every time, but made a couple of plays on those mid fights, a couple of bombs that worked out. I mean, I think, in fact, Piggle's only death was on one of those mid fights where Bud popped him up in the air and Yellen finished him off. So, there is that certainly for them there. I don't think Garda want to be in this position where they're playing this slow kind of spam trade across the mid fights. I think certainly GG kind of had the measure of them in those scenarios. So if they can get a bit more action packed, a bit more all involved, and just rely on Bud and Yawn finding some rockets down onto those combo members from NOOBPANZER, then that probably works out a little bit better for them. And Gullywash is certainly a better map for that than Snakewater is.
Yeah, I think that's going to be true, and I'm definitely looking toward seeing just how active they can be, because I think you're absolutely right in kind of, I mean, at least in the part of the assertion that you were saying that if Garda Panteri cannot be more active, I think they will really struggle, because as you were saying, in terms of kind of holding their positions, NOOBPANZER were really on point. They were not really giving up anything once they had it, and if they were, they weren't really losing, for example, they weren't losing meds, they weren't losing too many players. If they were giving up something, they were just so clean about it, which obviously you expect from a Prem team, but just really solid on top of that. And alongside that, when you've got a soldier who was so effective at those bombs, it really does show the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of top talent, but as you say, you could tell kind of as the game drew on, you could tell Garda wanted to up the pace a little bit. They wanted to make it a little bit more active. Whether that was felt they were kind of playing a little bit too slow for their kind of ideal play style, or whether it was just a case they were a few rounds down, they felt they had to pick the pace up. I think overall, I'm expecting them to play a little bit more all out right from the start of this map, and this kind of big skybox and this large kind of theatre of the Gullywash mid is a little bit more favourable for them. They can't get quite as shut down as early by the kind of scouts on the high ground as you can on a map like Snakewater.
Yeah, I think I'm in particular going to be interested to see if Ryan can have that kind of same success, because I think the bombs on this mid can be a little awkward, right? As much as I look at this map and go, soldiers can really thrive here, especially with some of the low ceilings around the mid. It can provide a lot of space for, especially experienced medics like we're seeing, to really dodge, weave, and kind of just retreat away from that. Obviously, you get the space advantage that means you can win mid off the back of the medic being denied away, but it can mean they're a lot safer. And that might mean that we see less Uber usage, in these mids, which is kind of a converse thing. We might see people be a little bit more stuck going in towards that second than we've seen, even more than we've seen sometimes on Snakewater.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing was, Garda were trying to like make players work from kitchen, get roamers in behind, even get like the scout and demo across, but nothing was kind of really working out for the mid fights. I think on a map like this, it's kind of a little bit more linear. You kind of just got to throw your soldiers in. You've kind of got to make the most of whatever your soldiers do. I mean, if your soldiers can roll out super fast, it gives you a big advantage. You can get and pressure that demo in that choke area a lot quicker and a lot easier. If one of your soldiers is especially fast on this map, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think the mid fight Garda are going to need it a little bit more. They can't really, in any game, if you're losing the majority of the mid fights, if you're consistently on the back foot, it's going to be difficult, particularly if the other team is maybe a little bit more tactically and strategically sound than you overall as well. So I think they've just got to kind of mix it up, hope the mids go a little bit better for them, and then we can maybe see a little bit more of a kind of contest and a little bit more of a back and forth fight through the rest of the map, because when, based on Snakewater, we never really saw NOOBPANZER. They were never really tested. They were never really out of their comfort zone, and Garda are kind of a team that thrives in putting pressure on the opposition and forcing mistakes out of them, and they didn't do that at all in the first map.
Yep, for sure. We are getting ready to go into the game, though, as the players are pretty much ready to rock. Again, I'm going to ask you, Dave. I'm going to put you on the spot and say, do you think that NOOBPANZER are going to take this one too? Then
I'm definitely going for NOOBPANZER. I think we're going to see 2 rounds for Garda here, but I think probably 5-2 NOOBPANZER.
I think that's fair. I think especially with the pace that we're looking at here on Gully Wash, it wouldn't exactly be shocking. I'm going to be a little bit more optimistic. I don't know. I want to see Garda Panteri succeed. They are a team who can be very hit or miss, and you never know what to expect from them. I'm gonna put it as a win for them, and I'm gonna go for 5-4. Even if I'm wrong, you gotta believe sometimes. You gotta believe.
Absolutely. There's a lot of talent in the roster, a lot of players, a lot of big performances over the years, but at the end of the day, it's week 1. They got pretty heavily smashed on that first map, even if it was a slow death, and looking to split out on this second map with Gully Wash.
Already forced off here. Decent damage coming in, but not able to really turn it into all too much. Shabib instead picking apart a lot here, and actually keeping NOOBPANZER all the way back in that position. Really nicely done, and Garda Panteri, well, pretty much winning the mid straight away. Huggy looking for a chance to get out here, 15 HP, but we'll go.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be able to make the most of this. I mean, with 2 players, you'd expect them to be moving already onto second. There are some stickies, but they have been exploded and dealt with pretty quickly. So second certainly going to come through for Garda here. You can see NOOBPANZER just very happy. Set up on last, get that sentry gun up, get their players in position, get their stickies down as well. Ryan spotted out the riverside area just to see that the players from Garda are moving down that way, and we're going to be seeing if Garda can break this open.
Alan Yawn, that's a good duo name-wise, going into water to try and see if they can look for a chance to pop up and catch one, but there's a whole veritable party of NOOBPANZER just above, so you've got to be very careful on that one. Huggy over on that Pyro, just trying to make sure things don't go all too bad. As, well, Garda Panteri lose a lot of players there, making a couple of mistakes up in the river, and as a result, you're going to see NOOBPANZER push right back.
Yeah, Shafi getting caught in river was very bad. That's a nice shot though onto Ryan actually from Bud this time. That's going to... It was forced out very early for Theos. He himself hadn't taken so much damage. Probably maybe thought the combo was a little bit closer. But they can milk for quite a while. NOOBPANZER eventually used that Uber out. Shafi's wanted to re-aggress, so they're trying to come through the choke, but GG is just soloing down onto the choke, gets so much damage down onto Theos, takes him out with the donk as well. And at the end of the day, that's going to be no medic here for Garda. Yelling gets cleaned up in the back lines as well, so Biggo's probably just going to be able to move in through mid here. They're a little bit cautious. I think there's a player unaccounted for, probably Yawn or Juxta. You see Juxta at the big door. Still not exactly sure where Yawn is, but they're going to take mid at least, and they're going to have a big Uber advantage here, Panzer.
Well, yeah. Was over on second last time I saw them, but I'm sure if they can really... Sorry, no, there was a player behind. I have lost them as well. Yeah, no. Wasn't Neon, but over on that sniper now, trying to catch a player. Huggy sees it, calls it, but 150 headshot does land. Unfortunately, can't quite kill anybody. Nobody in position for Garda Panteri to really flex that damage and turn it into a kill. Uber going to be used here. You can see already Voxtech going up forward. Got GG cutting off those spawns, completely denying away, and oh, wow. Those pipes and landed. Just really nice call here from NOOBPANZER. As soon as they got that advantage, as soon as they had the Uber advantage, they just sent it.
Yeah, just went on the dot straight in through main. Garda were not in position. Everyone just trying to get back into spawn and get back onto their off-classes. And when everyone was pinned back in spawn, just left the point completely open, and absolutely Voxy making the most of it, standing on the point cap in the round out, and in the blink of an eye, NOOBPANZER are 1-0 up.
Again, locking that out, and Huggy walking right into it. Nice advantage again here for Garda Panteri early on in the round. That mid, but Theos gets stuck in the corner in this position. Really nicely done by Pup to actually find that. And yeah, they're going to give up. Well, maybe they're not actually. You know, I was thinking maybe they're going to give up the mid, but Ryan jumps in and says, "No way, mate. We're taking that one all the way to the bank." Ellen wants to try and get aggressive, wants to try and find that pick, but players are too low health. They don't have a med. They don't got nothing. And Garda Panteri completely cut away from that one. Honestly, off the back of Puck and Ryan. Again, these soldiers we were highlighting.
Yeah, just absolutely. You can see Theos delayed and delayed and delayed for a while just because he didn't want to have to end up running into Puck up that banana area, but probably delayed a little bit too long. Ryan jumps in behind Big Dog, completely cuts off any chance of escape, and he just gets completely sold out. And despite Hugely getting taken down basically instantly on the mid fight, you'd think a scout out the mid should have meant that Garda were able to take it, but just very, very good work from the soldiers, isolating the enemy medic, coming back into the fight and winning the DM Fest at the end as well.
Yeah, nicely done. Yawn making a cheap position above the choke right now. NOOBPANZER kind of settling in, I think, for the relatively long ball. We're going to come out for Theos here, just to see if they're going to use it to try and find any advantage, but just waiting, and they might just give up that ad. Not really enough for them to make work in this position. I'm going to bounce that cone up. I respect it from Bud. Playing around with it.
Seems to be all the players are doing at the moment. Just shoot the cone, don't shoot each other.
Let's get up there.
Trying to move through Big Door here on the NOOBPANZER side. There's just a couple of stickers they have to deal with. The Chappie just playing up on the high ground, just raining explosives down towards that corner. But they've got Ryan in behind at least here, NOOBPANZER, but no one is falling for bait and no one's dropping back.
He tries to get some damage from GG there, not quite able to convert it out. They will be able to leave if they really need to, but GG just so confident with the backup of Voxtech to not really commit towards anything. Theos takes a decent amount of damage and wants to keep their team alive. That's up the Uber, but really doesn't want to have to spend it here. Look at Ryan, that's going to be a force as soon as they see the Uber come in. However, they will, well, trade. So nice there from Garda Panteri, not having to lose too much, and they actually do make it out somewhat. So they're able to keep those players alive, keep control of second. NOOBPANZER, unsuccessful push.
Yeah, still a couple of spawners waiting here for NOOBPANZER. They're just going to try and hold it very, very close here onto Puck. Just draw the beam onto him, just trying to shut down. That does leave the big door open though, and Yawn is now entering from there. It's going to land in, wrap around, land onto Biggles, and a very, very nice fight victory there for Garda. Just overstaying their welcome a little bit there, NOOBPANZER, and certainly paying the price for it.
NOOBPANZER. Well, they have made a couple of slip-ups in this game, but it's to be expected. It's a hard map to play, hard map to not lose any of those players, and they're up against a solid team as well. Garda Panteri showing us that despite the fact that they got kind of shut out in the previous map, as you kind of said, the difference was not as huge as it looked like. Was that? Yeah, that's the loose cannon coming out from GG. I respect the hustle. When you've got these big chokes, I mean, it can do a lot of damage. You love to see the spice.
Yeah, can be really good at denying the Ubers as well. Already got one frag onto Theos with it, and he's just going to launch him up in the air. Sentry gun is dealt with, but it takes a little bit of a while. Now, Yalin is chasing GG in behind. He's not giving any sticks on point. He's going to get it nearly capped now. Big bombing from Bjorn towards the point. Jux is coming up from behind as well. It's just a heavy to deal with. Voxy. He's still healthy, but so many players just completely surround him and circle him. And there we go. Garda take it back to 1-1.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's as you said, Garda Panteri strike right back, and off the back of, I mean, some difficult kind of positioning from NOOBPANZER where they knew that what was coming, they were ready for it, but when you have to put the demo on the actual point, it can be very difficult for them to really have any impact, and they got caught out, taken down, and from there, well, NOOBPANZER just kind of fell apart, really, especially with the Uber coming into them. Garda Panteri were looking very, very confident. This time doesn't get a kill right away. Puck jumps in, provides some space for their team. Ryan wants to land that one up. They take down 2. This time they just got to make sure they don't lose anyone too important. Huggy going down is not the end of the world. So Rockets go wide. You go in. They kill off the aggressive soldier and don't keep their team alive.
Yeah, interesting mid-fight there from NOOBPANZER. Just Ryan coming out on the shotgun and just fully counter-bombing, just completely being defensive kind of wall of the double soldiers, just punishing Bud and Yawn as they look to get aggressive towards that choke point. So a pre-planned idea, and it worked out very, very nicely for NOOBPANZER there.
Should be trying to make sure they have a little bit more control over the lobby, but it's not quite going to work out. Oh, there is actually, yeah, there's a spy coming out from Huggy. When I first saw it, I assumed they were checking something, looking for something, but Huggy is waiting here. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what they're going for. You know, they can make it happen. Voxtec takes some damage and will manage to keep themselves alive and keep that pressure on the point. Will step on for a second. Those stickies are keeping them away. That's a lot of power on this one. Huggy goes onto it, shoots. They're going to look for the cap, but they are taken away. Good play here from Shabib and the rest of Garda Panteri, as that was looking a little bit more stressful than they would have liked. But the Uber importantly used here. Pickles still has.
Yeah, I mean, for a minute, I think Yuji didn't know exactly what he wanted to do. Thought about maybe going for a play onto the medic, but ended up just kind of running on the point and revolvering people, doing any damage he could do, providing any, just putting so much chaos out there into the world that at the end of the day, Garda felt they just had to use Uber to make sure they didn't lose the cap, and you know, losing Uber is certainly better than losing the round.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think they made the right call for sure. Was trying to get on that point to have a little bit more success. Huggy taking a lot of damage here. They will stay alive. They take down Shabib. There's no more stickies on that point. You've got to be ever so careful. You can see already that the Pyro is trying to keep that heavy alive. 3 HP and does go down for the side of NOOBPANZER, but they still take control of the round, take control of the point, and move themselves up into a more winning position. They are keeping ahead of Garda Panteri for now.
Yeah, just very, very nice from GG. Just, you know, utilising his team's distraction underneath, isolating where the soldiers ended up having to jump towards the point, and it was just like shooting fish in a barrel there for GG. Just a heavy available to him soldiers as well, just able to rain down damage on the point, and they were able to cap off the back of it, and now we're at 2-1 here to NOOBPANZER.
Down early with both scouts, one gone and one taking a lot of damage. Has to be very careful, but he did get a lot of damage with Garda Panteri, but it doesn't really mean anything if they give them the space, give them the time. So getting a couple of kills here does matter, and even a kill for Pickles, who goes for it. Puff really wants to kill that med, but 38 HP. There's going to be a kill coming through in just a second. Nicely done by NOOBPANZER. Despite the fact that they lose Huggy right at the start of that fight, they get enough damage onto Garda Panteri that they can just look for one opening, one chance. They didn't give them enough time to heal up as well, completely cutting the med away. Garda, they're again on the back foot.
Yeah, they did just about enough. You know, they thought with Hugie going down, with them losing position on the point, that it was all said and done, but it's just a case that Puck found his way into, I guess, his own choke, kind of unopposed, sneaks in from the flank, just finds beautiful rockets down onto Shappy, picks him up, and you know, with the help of a scout, is able to claim Pickles as well. So just finding a space at the right time.
Yeah, Uber will mean they get rid of that sentry gun. But they don't get a huge amount from it. They get onto the right and the left-hand side here. They're able to find a little bit, but lose puck. Ryan's kind of low as well. They can't really get the space that they need. Voxtech is completely cut off. He is playing cheeky down here. I think this is really not going to find very much success. I'd be shocked to see it do so, but Shabib doesn't have any stickies there. Oh my no, oh no, please, no, come on, Garda. This can't be the way you go down. That's GG, they just can't stop them in time. And NOOBPANZER take another round. Garda Panteri not doing their due diligence, not checking that water, and they didn't have eyes on the other scout.
Yeah, I don't know if they thought it was cleared. They seemed super confident to push out. Didn't even leave stickies on the point, didn't leave us Roma back. Eventually Yawn came back, but it was it's already done and dusted by the time he got there. It was 90% capped, so yeah, very big punishment there for what is a pretty big mistake at this level.
Yeah, should be gonna get some decent spam going through there, but doesn't quite kill yet. Ryan looking at drop down, looking for a chance to come up. They will have heard that one. Keep an eye on it. No, they didn't. The med is going down. That's huge coming through, but Biggles falls as well. NOOBPANZER not able to turn this into a win just yet. In fact, they're down players. Garda Panteri, they saw the problem. They saw what was going on. They were looking for the counterpunch. Unfortunately, it slipped just below the jaw, and they lose player after player to the remaining members of NOOBPANZER. I was so excited. I thought it was a Garda Panteri mid-win, but NOOBPANZER, they stay stalwart.
Yeah, somehow just Ryan, probably every rocket, he must have done about more damage than everyone else combined on that mid-fight, just going through with the flank early on. I mean, Garda did their best, they looked to get aggressive, but they're getting back now actually. They're Ryan once more up in the air, Puck is there to support him as well. Just a little bit of a cut space making bombs from the soldiers, not super committing, just pushing Garda back. Garda up close to this Uber, it's basically even Ubers, but second is going to have to be given up even if Puck does go down here.
Yeah, nice try. Ryan, yeah, man of the hour over on Snakewater, just to see if they can get any more forces of any kind. Any opportunities here, but much harder to kind of have that kind of success over on Jolly Watch. Love that sticky positioning, by the way, from Shabib. That's really nasty.
The hidden one in kind of lower river. Very awkward when you see it. I mean, does that on the scout doesn't quite find Voxy there. Voxy's just going to swivel back. I think they're aware that he's underneath and there's going to be a soldier bud go down for him. And if he wants to take a 1v1, it's actually going to be a 2v1. Going to be a shank there, a gang attack, and Voxy's going to go down. Basically for nothing. I don't think NOOBPANZER were really committing anything too much there.
No, they kind of put a scout under there and went, are they stupid enough to fall for it again? But not this time. I mean, you didn't even provide the kind of foreplay that you need for that. I think that scenario, right, where Garda pushed forward, they're like, yeah, the scout must be with the medic to help them get out of this position, or building with them. Unfortunately, they were wrong. Huggy was waiting underneath, and well, Huggy will fall again. Nice reflect here from Juxta. You love to see it, and Puck will go down. And NOOBPANZER lacking players, that might just be enough for Garda Panteri to move back. But keep in mind, they're probably being a little bit hesitant in their mind, right? Especially after the last round, where they lost by pushing out.
Yeah, I mean, 2 picks. Ideally, you'd want to at least be making a move. They certainly, gave it a go. They chanced their hand. They had a pyro, which not always ideal. But we're actually going to see a counter pyro coming out from NOOBPANZER. Are we going to see hot water in Prem?
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see Puck go down there. It means you can really get rid of a lot of those stickies that have been otherwise problematic, obviously, to try and take control of the point. Puck's a chance to move up, move forward. Holop's there in good position as well. I don't know if they spot it. This could be big. Puck, however, is probably going to die. Yeah, those stickies were in a really nice position to the point where Puck really couldn't do anything about them. You can see Voxtech was looking for a chance to maybe follow up on that, get that little bit of extra cap time, but to no avail, at least at this point. No, Voxtech comes back for a second helping, and NOOBPANZER again taking Garda Panteri. Unfortunately, just caught out.
Yeah, just too much happening. There was a sniper. there was players, posturing up in river. They didn't see the scout. They thought the sentry was going to be enough, but at the end of the day, the sentry is only impactful if you decide to take a fight against it. If you got a sniper peeking through main, if you got a scout on the point, the sentry doesn't really do anything, and just didn't have all their interests covered there really.
Got that bomb from Ryan. Unfortunately, didn't really find very much. Puck, who actually managed to finish off Yawn, where Ryan was a very low sync of Puck, who does fall here. We've got a good couple of frags with boot gun. There's a lot of threat removed from the side of Garda Panteri. But they continue to fight. Huggy will try and get this kill. Will take down the med. That's exactly where NOOBPANZER wanted to be. They've now just got to keep theirs alive. So keep that player safe. Yellen taken down. There's another scout. Come on, just deal with them. And this is NOOBPANZER pushing into last in just a couple of minutes. And this is brilliant for NOOBPANZER. They're going to have a huge ad. And, well, obviously mid and probably second as well.
Yeah, it's effectively 2 scouts with heals against 2 scouts with heals. The difference was the NOOBPANZER scouts were both together, were in sync, were on the beam, and the Garda scouts were not. They were completely separated. They were not able to get themselves in sync together and end up losing the mid-fight off the back of it. Trying to move in through lobby, Stickies didn't quite find the target, and actually just going to move it straight in for a minute, immediately taking such a gun out from Yalin, looking to get towards the left-hand spawn here, on from Puck in towards the point. It's going to claim Bud behind the point as well, and I think that is going to be GG's rolling out here.
Yeah, a slip up from Garda Panteri in the mid does mean that when your med goes down like that, when this, especially so late into the kind of mid, it just means that NOOBPANZER are going to roll over you. There's no way, shape, or form you're really making it out of that unless like the Uber is completely squandered. And a team like NOOBPANZER, who we're highlighting, have a lot of really solid players. You cannot expect them to mess that up, right?
No, they didn't really make too many mistakes throughout the game. I think maybe that one kind of fight on mid where they tried to hold a bit too close when they were still waiting on a couple of spawners, that was kind of a bit of an error. But aside from that, it's pretty much the only kind of mistake they made across 2 maps. So I think NOOBPANZER looked very, very solid right at the start of this season here. And, Garda, they had their moments. They had times where they made some big plays, but certainly not the well-oiled machine that we saw from NOOBPANZER. And, every kind of little mistake they made, particularly on those last points on Gully Wash, they were very, very quickly punished, and NOOBPANZER looking very solid.
Yeah, really nice to see from them. And again, a pretty solid measuring stick. You said that Garda Panteri were kind of the guards of that kind of upper echelon of Prem. So interested to see just how far NOOBPANZER can really go this season, already with some absolutely talented players. And excited to see what they're going to be able to do with it. I mean, great place from GG getting a lot of damage in that one, but in particular, it was that soldier duo, right? Puck and Ryan going to town.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the Garda soldiers having to really show up in the mid fights if they were to kind of claim this map, and it seems the fact that it kind of opened up a bit more on Gully Wash, the fact there was more opportunity for the soldiers to get in and have an impact on the mid fights just worked even more in NOOBPANZER's favour, and Puck and Ryan especially with solid performances. And yeah, I mean, GG. With a very, very different stat line this time. In the first map, he had a beautiful KD and not the most impressive damage. This time, he's putting out a ton of damage, doesn't get the kills rewarded for it. At the end of the day, that's kind of how Demoman works. Sometimes you're going to get kills, sometimes you're not. If you're doing your job, if you're playing solid, if you're not dying too much, that's all your team can really ask for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's certainly what they did. Really well played by GG and the rest of the gang. And excited to see what NOOBPANZER are going to bring to Prem going forward. Definitely looking forward to some of their next matches. So thank you all very much for watching. It has been a great Prem Week 1. And if you were popping over on the other stream, I don't know if that's still going over on essentials.tf. No confirmation either way, but if you do want to pop over there, it is. We're about to go there, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. I've been Rook. I've been joined by Dave. And as always, providing wonderful support on production has been JMax Chill. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.